So Texas has Tex-Mex, while the rest of the South has their traditional hearty food that the region is known for. Though in modern times,
Honestly, my friends, some real talk. Tex-Mex looks amazing. Texas barbecue looks amazing. Food from the South looks amazing. I understand that Texas is different from the South, but one thing they have in common, actually two things. Amazing people and amazing food. And actually three things. A beautiful America all around. Anyone watching from Texas, if so, leave me a comment, my friend. That would make my day. I love your state, as you probably are aware. Today I'll be reacting to 9 reasons why Texas is different than the rest of the South. My friends, I really wonder what those reasons are. But before I go into that, let me ask you for one thing. If you can leave a like, thank you so much. Is the best way to show support. Now, if you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Link for the original video in my description and let's play it.
Texas isn't the South. Texas isn't the West. Texas isn't Southwest.
Okay.
Texas is Texas.
I love that.
Long debated and often discussed, Big Texas and its place in America's regions is always a source of contention. The U.S.
Really?
Census Bureau has designated Texas as a part of the southern region of the country. But oftentimes, if you ask someone from Texas if they're Southern or not, they'll tell you, I'm not Southern, I'm Texan. Or if you ask
Okay.
Americans from other parts of the country, you'll get a million different answers and reasons for why it is or it isn't. So what makes Texas different from other southern states?
Great question.
Well, on this video, I'm going to explain 9 reasons why. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you
Good
love
for
this
me
type
also,
of
my friends.
content, and let's talk about Texas.
the first and most obvious reason is the geography and sheer size of Texas.
Okay, before we go into this argument, let me say one thing. In my mind, I consider Texas the South because it's in the South. But you guys are correct. I feel like Louisiana, Mississippi, the southern region have a very specific culture. At least for me, reacting to videos, I have that feeling. And Texas is similar, but also different, you know. But I also think is, for example, when you guys say the South, you guys put Florida, but I think Florida is also different than the other regions of the South. Am I crazy to say this? You know, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, all of them, I kind of have the same feeling. Florida is a bit different, you know, and the same goes for Texas.
If you look at the other southern states, they're kind of in the middle as far as land area of U.S. states. Larger than northeastern states, but smaller than western states. But Texas is different. It is not only larger than every other southern state, putting it more in line with the western states, but it's also the second largest state in the entire country. At almost
So
269,000
big.
square miles, it leapfrogs all of the western continental states and is only dwarfed by the gigantic state of Alaska. Texas is so large that it's bigger than the next 4 largest southern states combined. If Texas were its own
Really?
country, it would be the 39th largest country in the world. To give you
Holy.
another idea of how large Texas is, on the U.S. interstate highway system, the exits are usually numbered by miles from west to east and from south to north. Texas is the only state in the union where you'll see exit numbers that reach over 600. When you enter the state along I-20, you will see exit 635 for Wascom. And along I-10, there will be exit 878 for Orange. Yes, that means that you have to drive 878 miles before you're out of Texas to reach the next state, which is New Mexico.
You know what? If I drive all of this from Portugal, I'm gonna end up in Russia or something. No joke. It's kind of crazy how big Texas is, my friends.
In fact, El Paso, Texas is closer to San Diego, California, than it is to Houston,
That's
Texas.
crazy.
Up next is the landscape. The majority of the South consists of either coastal plains, beaches, mountains, or Piedmont areas.
Okay.
The Atlantic coastal states have low-lying areas adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean that eventually give rise to the Piedmont and the Appalachian Mountains, while the Gulf states are characterized by low-lying plains along the coast that give way to hilly terrain as you head north. The other southern states are very green, as you'll find abundant amounts of grass and forests all throughout the region, along
Sorry, but this is true. The southern states are super green. That's why I tend to love the south. Texas is not that green, really?
with rivers and their associated surrounding valleys. While Texas is different. One can indeed find some similarities to other southern states in parts of Texas, but there are some distinct features that are Texas only when it comes to the
Like
South.
what?
First, let's talk about the beaches. Unlike most other southern states with a coastline, Texas is severely lacking in this area. Houston's beach city of Galveston simply does not compare to the East Coast or other Gulf beaches. Owing in its proximity to the western U.S. and by its larger size, the general line where the greener eastern U.S. gives way to the browner west slices right through Texas. As a result,
Wait, there is a line that separates the regions that are very green versus the others. Oh no, but there is a big part of Texas that is still very green. Oh wow, this is so interesting, my friend. Hey, leave a like if you enjoy this type of videos. I know I have to pause a lot of times to learn and to really see if I understand what I'm seeing on the screen. But this is so interesting. Wow.
the greener eastern U.S. gives way to the browner west slices right through Texas. As a result, you can find plateaus, desert valleys, and desert-style grasslands unlike anything that can be found in other parts of the South. These mountains in Texas look nothing like the Appalachians to the east. To the north, one can find large escarpments, where the Great Plains meet the coastal plains, rather than Piedmont like in other states. And also great
What?
prairies that would almost make you think you were in Kansas if you didn't know any better. No other state contains such diversity of landscape quite like Texas
Really?
does. The next reason Texas is different is due to its demographics. In most of the South, the demographics are, for the most part, black and white Americans with a splash of others here and there. The Carolinas, Virginia, Tennessee.
So this one is very interesting. I was reacting to other video that someone said there is a black belt in the south. My question is the only region where this black belt appears, or other regions in America also have that? Because I know there is a lot of black Americans, right? So making this distinction, black belt, I thought was interesting because I don't see Americans by color, if that makes sense. I think America is so diverse that black belt, for me is a bit confusing to be honest with you, my friends.
Tennessee, the Deep South, especially, are all quite similar with this breakdown. But when it comes to Texas, things look quite different. In Texas, no one group makes up a majority of the population at 51% or higher. But the thing of note is that the largest group is those of Hispanic descent. At just over 40%, they have overtaken non-Hispanic whites as the largest demographic in the state. In third place is Black Americans at around 13%, followed by Asians at 6%. Texas also contains the only large metro in the United States that has a population that is majority Hispanic, as San Antonio is the 24th largest in the country, and Hispanic Americans are 54.3% of the population.
Wow.
You can see this influence all over the state, as it's not uncommon to hear Spanish being spoken at any given time, in any given place. This can also be somewhat regional as well, as the areas close to the Mexican border tend to have higher Hispanic populations.
Makes a lot of sense.
The Rio Grande Valley and El Paso areas are of particular note in that the Hispanic populations in these areas can reach 80 to 90%. While over in Houston, things are split mostly evenly between the three groups. And the Dallas-Fort Worth area is slightly different with a 42-16-29% split among those groups. This map of the counties gives you a good idea of the demographic distribution across the state, with Hispanics dominating the southern and southwestern parts of the state, and non-Hispanic whites making up the rest. In most other southern states, aside from Florida, the demographic makeup is usually around 60% white, 20 to 30% black, and 10% or less Hispanic. And those demographics play a role in the next reason Texas is different, and that is some of the food. First is the barbecue. The Carolinas and Tennessee are the face of what is Southern barbecue, but Texas, of course, has its own barbecue. With Southern barbecue from the Carolinas and Memphis, pork is the primary meat. It consists of pork shoulders and baby back ribs. It is served pulled, shredded, or chopped, but sometimes sliced. It may
To be honest, looks amazing.
also be rubbed with a spice mixture before smoking and mocked with a spice and vinegar liquid during smoking. There can be more regional differences between Eastern and Central North Carolina as well as South Carolina, but that's the general style. While Texas barbecue uses beef as the primary meat, and beef briskets and beef ribs are the primary dishes. Texas
love it.
barbecue is cooked until it is falling off the bone and uses a sweet tomato-based sauce. What you can also find in Texas that isn't found in any other southern state is authentic Tex-Mex food. Well, like the name says, Tex-Mex is a type of Mexican food from Texas. Though it can be considered foreign food, it was in fact born right here in Texas. So
But see, that's the thing I still don't get it. What's the big difference between Tex-Mex versus Mexican food? You know, what are the extra thing that Texan people end up putting? You know, what's the big difference? You know what I'm trying to say? Looks amazing.
one could say that Tex-Mex is American Mexican food. And according to Twisted Taco, this term used to describe American Mexican food was first introduced in Texas. Residents of the state enjoyed their Mexican dishes and began making them at home with the food that they had access to, such as beef and flour. The Mexican restaurants in Texas started adding more ingredients preferred by Texans to accommodate their taste, resulting in what we call today Tex-Mex.
Okay, that's amazing. So basically, they kind of had the idea of the recipes, the technique, but they had to pick specific foods that appear in Texas. Ingredients, right? This is really, for example, beef. Seems like you guys really love beef.
Examples of Tex-Mex food include fajitas, nachos, and any dish that uses beef, black beans, canned vegetables, wheat flour, or yellow cheese. These ingredients are not popular south of the Rio Grande or the Mexican border, and this means that Tex-Mex food is available in numerous places. And as the name states, it is a Texan thing, not a Southern thing. So Texas has Tex-Mex, while the rest of the South has their traditional hearty food that the region is known for. Though in modern times,
Honestly, my friends, some real talk. Tex-Mex looks amazing. Texas barbecue looks amazing. Food from the South looks amazing. I understand that Texas is different from the South, but one thing they have in common, actually two things, amazing people and amazing food. And actually three things, a beautiful America all around.
one can find both types of food in many parts of the country. Next, let's talk about the roads in Texas. First, roads, like everything else in Texas, are simply bigger.
Bigger.
Bigger stacks,
That's amazing.
higher flyovers, the world's widest
Oh
freeway.
my god, look at this. This almost looks like a theme park. Look at all the roads going over and down. It's crazy.
Bigger stacks, higher flyovers,
Yeah.
the world's widest freeway, and some of the widest surface boulevards you'll find in America. While around the rest of the South, seeing a large stack interchange might be a big deal, in Texas, it's just the
common.
norm. Spaghetti
man.
Junction in Atlanta, Texas has like 10 of those. I-95 in Miami would be just another road in Texas. Florida is also quite proud of its I-4 Ultimate
Holy.
project in Orlando. Well, in Texas, such tolled expressways are nothing new. Another thing on the roadways in Texas is the speed limits. In other southern states, you'll see speed limits that typically top out at 70 miles per hour.
Okay.
In Texas, you will not only find 75 miles per hour on major interstates, but some rural two-lane roads as well. It gets even crazier with speeds up to 80 miles per hour in some places, and even 85 miles per hour on the fastest roadway in the country,
Damn,
just outside of Austin. Northern neighbor Oklahoma does have a few 80 miles per hour roadways, but then some would debate its status as a southern state as well. Then aside from that, Texas is also the king of concrete roadways. Concrete roadways are not unique to Texas, as you can occasionally find concrete used on freeways in other southern states. But in Texas, even the surface streets in the cities are paved with concrete. One of the first things I noticed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area was how much concrete was used all over the area on regular arterial roads. Definitely a Texas thing. And they are always under construction. Maybe I need to invest in a concrete company. Now on to the cities. Typically, when one thinks of major southern cities or metropolitan areas, the Texas cities don't immediately come to mind. Many regard Atlanta as the unofficial capital of the South, with its cultural dominance and centralized location in the region. Atlanta is a fast-growing metro that is estimated to have 6.31 million people in 2023, making it larger than any other southern metro. Until
So
you
Atlanta is Georgia, right?
bring Texas into the picture. Texas has not one, but two metros that dwarf the capital of the
much
South
bigger,
in
yeah.
population and overall development. The Dallas-Fort Worth metro area is the fourth largest in the country with 8.10 million people in 2023. And the Houston metro area is right behind it with 7.51 million residents. They both are also growing faster than Atlanta, so the gap is only getting wider, with some predicting that they may knock Chicago from its long-held third-place position in the coming decades.
You know what? I'm gonna say something crazy maybe, but I think Texas got quite more popular in the last 5-10 years. I follow some people online, some celebrities, and American celebrities and stuff, and I see them posting about Texas, moving to Texas. I believe a huge example of this was the podcaster Joe Rogan. Do you guys know him? I saw a video that said that he ended up moving to Texas after 2 years ago or something, and I feel like a lot of people are moving there. I think Texas is booming.
But it doesn't stop with the upper tier cities. The third and fourth largest metros of San Antonio and Austin compete with second tier southern metros such as Tampa, Charlotte, Orlando, Nashville, and Raleigh Durham. So while the South has a decent amount of metros to go around, Texas can hold its own, all contained within one state. It's safe to say that Atlanta's influence over the South ends at the Texas state line. Capital of the South, except Texas. Now, the next thing that's different about Texas is the history. While most other southern states went from colonies of foreign countries or U.S. territories prior to becoming a state, Texas actually had a period of being its own country. After the Mexican
That's
War of Independence
crazy.
against Spain, Texas was included in the newly independent United Mexican States of America. In an effort to populate the area, the Mexican government encouraged immigration from other countries, as well as migration from other parts of Mexico. So many Americans came to the territory to the point that in 1830, the Mexican government banned immigration from the United States. Though significant illegal immigration from the United States continued to occur. By 1836, Texas delegates had decided to break away from Mexico and declared the independence of a new Republic of Texas. The U.S. recognized the Republic of Texas in 1837, though clashes with Mexico continued through the 1840s. On the other end, Mexico refused to acknowledge its independence, nor did it entertain U.S. offers to buy Texas. It had its own constitution, its own presidents, and even had formal relations with some foreign countries. However, in
Wow, Texas in terms of history is kind of crazy. I feel like could be one of the states in America that have the deepest history. Look at all of this. This is really, really fascinating.
1845, the U.S. annexed Texas and admitted it to the Union, thus ending the 9-year-old Republic of Texas and angering Mexico, giving way to the Mexican-American War, and the rest is history. No other southern state came into the Union after being its own country. Next on the list is the split loyalties as far as what region Texas does belong to. Depending on where you are in Texas, it could be considered as part of the West, the South, the Great Plains, Northern Mexico, Western Oklahoma, and
Wait.
New California.
So Texas is so big that you have different regions inside of Texas. That's amazing. Oh, friends, Texas is for sure one of my favorite states in America, and I would love to visit Texas one day. Actually, you know what? Anyone was anyone? I was about to say anyone asking from Texas. Sorry. Anyone watching from Texas, if so, leave me a comment, my friend. That would make my day. I love your state, as you probably are aware.
The southern part of Texas roughly follows Interstate 45 between Houston and Dallas, with Houston no doubt being considered southern, while things get a little interesting up in the DFW. East of Dallas, most will say, is southern, while Dallas and points north can be claimed as the Great Plains. The area around the Oklahoma state line is already referred to as Texoma, and Dallas has already set its sights on this region as future territory for unlimited DFW sprawl. While still in the DFW on the western side, the city of Fort Worth is where many say the West begins. West Texas then stretches all the way down the I-20 corridor through the oil fields of Odessa and Midland and on to El Paso. Now it can be debated whether Fort Worth or El Paso is the center of West Texas, but I'd go with Fort Worth. Over the Panhandle, you'll find West Oklahoma, which is centered around Amarillo. I've driven through this
Amarillo by morning. Do you guys know that song? It's a beautiful one. Actually, since we are talking about country music, this was a crazy introduction. Let me say one thing, my friends. I've been putting some country music reactions, and that's Amarillo by Morning by George Strait is one of them, on my Instagram. So feel free to follow me there, André. I would love to do it, but I don't have Instagram. No worries, my friends. There is a Facebook account that I post the same things. Both links below.
This area on both I-40 and US 87, and it definitely looks more like Oklahoma than the rest of Texas. This area here, to include Corpus Christi, San Antonio, and the Rio Grande Valley, is northern Mexico. Out here, the population is significantly more Hispanic than other parts of the state, and San Antonio is no doubt the most dominant city here. And finally, there is the capital region around.
You know what? I have a lot of Hispanic people watching me. No joke. I have a lot of Hispanic people watching me. Some of the nicest people I have in this community. I love all of you guys. Gracias, mis amigas.
Austin. It is said that the capital city of Austin is the least Texas city in Texas. It is also the most popular area of the state for relocated folks from California. In Austin, you will find an incredibly fast-growing skyline, the flagship University of Texas at Austin, more walkability than other Texas cities, but also the worst traffic of all the Texas cities, all in one place. While in the rest of the South, for the most part, the states can more easily be fit into a single region. Though many will have something to say about South Florida and the DMV's status as southern metros.
Exactly. I started with that. Thank God he's actually bringing that, because I really don't think this Florida, one of the best states in America, but saying is the South. I mean, it is, but you guys get the point.
The last thing I want to talk about is Texas state pride. Now, this is not to say that people in other states don't show pride in them.
But
Texas is on a different level.
Different
The
level.
Lone Star has long been a symbol of Texas pride since
Oh,
before
man.
it was even a state. And you can find it used absolutely everywhere when traveling around.
Really?
It's on billboards. It is on cars. It is used for freeway art.
Oh, wow.
I've even seen people with it on their homes. And of course, America's team over there in Dallas uses it for their logo.
That's
Though the last time that
amazing.
team won anything, YouTube nor Google even existed yet. You'll also see
Okay, actually, last one.
the Texas state flag everywhere.
I was about
It's
to
just-
ask that. You know what? Even on the roof. Well, friends, so since I assume I will have a lot of people watching from Texas, do you guys think that the Texas flag in Texas, of course, is as common as the American flag? Both are quite beautiful, and I find this so fascinating that you guys are so proud, so patriotic. Man, I would love to have a Texas flag in my home, because I've been talking so much about Texas.
Just a standard practice at this point. You'll see the star or the
Oh, they look so nice together.
flag in all Texas cities, both large and small. And the other thing you'll see is the state of Texas silhouette. When I stopped at the rest area entering the state on I-20, they had a Texas
Looks like a hen.
state-shaped monument outside. You'll see the state plastered all over several things and places just as much, if not more, than the Lone Star itself. Even those not from Texas recognize the shape of Texas when they see it. The Texas state shape might be more popular and recognizable than that of any other U.S. state.
Oh, no, that's for sure. I don't think that's debatable. I mean, he's probably the only one I can exactly think how it looks, because it looks like a gun.
Then there is the Don't Mess with Texas slogan. Originally coined by the Texas DOT as a campaign to reduce litter, it later became a part of Texas identity and a source
Damn,
of
man.
Texas pride.
Okay.
You can find this slogan all over the state, on shirts, on cups,
But why is
and
that?
various other souvenirs.
Wait, is this some type of message that the Texas state sends to the government or something? Probably someone will know what's going on here. Don't mess with Texas.
And in public schools, the children in Texas pledge their allegiance not only to the United States flag, but also their allegiance to the Texas state flag.
Holy.
Other southern states just don't have the same level of state pride that you will find in Texas.
And there we have it, folks. The difference.
But sorry, great video. By the way, follow this gentleman. Great video. The thing is, I don't think it's fair to say that the other southern states don't have this type of pride. I think all America don't have this type of pride. I don't think it's unfair to say that, right? So it's not just the southern; it's basically the entire country. Texas is different level when it comes to pride.
Differences between Texas and the rest of the South. What region do you think Texas is in? Is the U.S. Census Bureau correct to include it in the South? Or should it be included in the West instead? Or do we need a new official region called the Southwest?
Maybe
or do
that.
you believe that Texas is Texas? Also, do
Or
you
that.
know any other ways that Texas is different from the rest of the South? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll
Thank
see
you,
you
my
on
friend.
the next one.
Okay, my friends, showing all the support, like I said. Thank you so much. I actually would love to know your perspective about this because it seems like could be a controversial topic. Do you think Texas is its own thing, or do you think certain regions are more Southern culture, others are more, basically tell me your perspective on this, since I know for sure I will have a lot of people from Texas watching. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.